Hello, hello, this is Arcades, and welcome to another update video here on Stormworks Build and Rescue. And yeah, we finally got, as they said, the last and final update for fishing. And yeah, we got some changes to look over and a new part. So hope you enjoy what you watch. Hope you like what you see. If you do, remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Helps out the channel immensely. And yeah, let's check this out. Alright. Okay, first, let's take a look at the patch notes. Okay, so here it is, the Lobster Pot Major Update. Dear Stormworks, the third and final fishing major update is out now. The major update introduces crab and lobster pots and the advanced rod fishing mechanics. Crabs and lobsters. There are many varieties of new crabs and lobster sea creatures, as well as being found on the ocean floor. They can be caught passively over time. This is important. With the new fishing pot component, they occur most densely in localized areas and can be sold at fishing locations. Advanced rod fishing. Rod fishing now has new fish fighting mechanics where fish will fight on the line, reel in when there is slack, and manage the tension when the fish is pulling. If the line tension gets too high, the line will break and the fish will escape. Fish improvements. This update also includes various fish fixes and improvements that have been requested by players. See the patch notes below for details. Look forward to your feedback on this new update. Much love, the developers. Patch notes feature crabbing, lobsters, crabs, and crabs pots. Fishing rod fish escaping, fighting, and reel mechanics. Fish rod float and float depth. Workshop fishing tag. Net anchor composite data node. I know this was a big one. I have a bit of an issue I want to go over with this too. Not this specifically, it kind of is related to it though. Fish finder data generation is now more consistent. Increased fishing gantry boom length and updated filters. Rework. Fishing hotspots now spawn huddled around the Arctic and main biome. And increased net max capacity to 512. So those are all some nice changes. So let's see how they go. Alright, let's head back to the game. Okay, so we're back here now. So yeah. Right here, this is the main one component they added. At least that I could find. Was the lobster pot. As you can see, it gives you the data, release, and the fill level. And we have this here. You can't see the new stuff with it, but I brought it out to it. So, yeah, let's get in the workbench and check these out. Okay, so logic-wise, the pot comes with just two nodes. We have the fill number and the release number. I don't know what the max is. But I'm just going to say for right now, I don't think it's very high from testing I've done. Like, you might see 20. I haven't seen what the max is. I have personally got, like, maybe 8. And the way they look while they're in there kind of looks weird, interesting. But, so I don't know what the max is. I haven't found a max. But they work very interesting. And I'll be going over that in a moment. Now, we have the anchor here. Now they said they added a composite node. As you can see, it says outputs attach net data. Value 1 is the net fill level. In other words, how many fish are in it, caught in it. And value 2 is the net extend factor, how far it's stretched out. And from what I can tell, that's as far as 0.25 all the way up to 4 from my own testing. So I know it goes to a max of 4. I think it goes down to 0.25. We'll double check that here in a minute, but yeah. Alright, and that's pretty much all they added. For some reason, though, they have a selector tool with the net anchor, but there's nothing here. I don't know if they had planned something in the future or what, but, it's there. Or it might be a complete mistake. Because we had, like, the winches had that issue a while back where they put the length control on the winch anchors instead of being on the winches, and it might be the same issue, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. Because it might have been for the pots to select something. Now, my one gripe is they have this here, but they don't have this on the lobster pot. You figured if they were going to add this to here, they would have added to here as well. And this is what I'm going to get into later because I have an issue with lobster pots. To me, it's a big issue. For some people, it may not be. But, and this, it has to deal with, like, if you want to do small builds. But, for now, that's not what we're here for. Let me show you a little demonstration that I had built involving these items. Because I can explain what they do, but it's a lot easier to show you what they do. Okay. So, I'm out here now. I'm on my little fishing boat. I made a crab pot, and it's currently down there. It's been cooking for a little bit, grabbing stuff. Now, the thing about the crab pots is they don't, like, actively catch. You just gotta, like, throw them on the ground in the water, and they just start collecting crabs in them. Like, it just generates a crab in them. You won't see crabs walking up to them or anything like that. They just literally just sit there and start generating crabs in them. And as you can see, they just sit in there. They look like they're jailed. Like, I didn't do it, officer. I was framed. You know, they're just standing in there. Now, as you can see, I got these all stacked up on top of each other. And, you know, got connections and such. And this lies in my small issue with these guys. With these crab pots. And let me bring it up and, yeah, I'll show you what I'm meaning. So as you can see, I spent the time, I got it loaded in here. My biggest problem with these things is you cannot manually release the crabs from the pots. You can directly unload them, you know, by hand and then store them in the hopper, but in order to release them, you have to use the node. Now, the problem for me is that if you wanted to, say, make small little pots out of each of these, because you can see this pot is made of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pots. You know, 5 of the lobster pots. The problem is that I can't just unhook it, which means, or open it up and just hit, or I can't walk up to it and hit release on this thing and they drop off. That's the one thing I want, is I want to be able to just click on the pot and release the contents. You also can't grab it or anything like that, but that one's But in order to be able to release it, you have to have a button on it. And then to have a button on it, you need to have power, which means you got to have a battery, such as this. When you make a big assembly like this, that's not an issue. But say you want to make a small assembly, like a smaller boat even than this, and have like 5 individual pots. You can't do that because it turns into this massive, like, it just, like, it doubles in size just at minimum to be able to put a pot down. And that's, you know, that's depending on how you want to pick up the pots. As on top of that, say you put a rope anchor on there, so you can, you know, maybe you want to swim down and hook it up, you know, like get on a diving suit and then reel them up that way. Whatever you want to do, but the point is, try to get it is, like, there's no way to manually release these into, without having to equip a button, a battery to the pot itself directly. But once you do all of that, though, and you get that thing, you know, you can just release them and it'll just spit out. And as you can see, all these got released. And you can see I got 25 crabs just from sitting in the thing. Now, the other thing is I was hoping that the fill levels, when they're connected like this, would stack up kind of like how the hoppers do. But they do not, unless. They only record for each other, so whenever you go to add these, you have to add for each individual pot. So, yeah, it gets a little... It starts taking, like, as you start adding up all the logic you need to operate like a larger pot or smaller systems, it ends up, you start needing a lot of logic to run these things. if you want to do them in certain ways. Like, so... I mean, overall, I like it, and I think it's a good part. I think there's certain nuances that just need to be addressed, and other than that, it would be perfect. But as it stands, it's a completely workable part, and it works great. So, that's my only gripes with the pots, is the fact you cannot release them by hand, and that requires you to add power and a button in order to be able to release them as a single pot if you want to do it by hand in that manner. Because some people would like to do it in that manner. Because otherwise you don't really get that feel of being able to manhandle the cage and then open the cage and watching all these crabs spill out onto a table type deal. You know, but, you know, it is what it is. Not perfect, but it works. And I think it's really good. So, you know, if I had to give it, it's like a C+ part. So, you know, if I had to grade it. Now, the other thing, as you can see here, I've got the nets hooked up to the new composites. As you can see, I've got already a random fish actually got stuck in the nets. Oh, there it is. Yep, see? Now, I'm going to tighten these up as much as they'll go. And yeah, 0.25. I was right. So, 0.25. And then if I extend this all the way out, the net's on my boat, you can see it just goes down. It will go all the way to 4. Now, I will admit, I've only tested this on this boat. I haven't tried any other configurations. I want to say 4 is the max. Your mileage may vary depending on yours. I'm not going to say this is the only max, but I will say this is what I got for a max. So keep that in mind, and I'm pretty sure that's probably, you know, over all the others. Now, for the fishing pole. Now, if you look at the bottom, you know, on the bottom where the fishing pole is in the inventory thing, you'll now see it says 5 meters there. Now, I don't know, some people have this set to R. I have it's set on B for me, because that's what the default was me for I started the game for this type of stuff. But if you hit B, it will change the length for the hook depth. Now, what this means is when you go to cast it, you have the bobber on top, and the hook now sinks down from the bobber in this manner. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of fish in this area. Like, there's one over here. I don't know how long it'll take him to get over here, but... Oh, we got one right here. And you can see they'll circle around and they'll go after it like before. Oh, got a catch. Now, as you can see, the fish is fighting. Now, hopefully this will go through properly. You hear that sound where it looked like it was grinding down? That's when you know the fish is kind of fighting you. And you'll see the line goes taut, and as soon as it releases and you get some slack, you can start reeling in again. But the moment you start hearing that gearing down sound, you can actually start... Oh, did you hear that? It broke. Yeah, so I lost the fish. There was it's the same snapping sound as like the typical rope snapping. But it is there. When you hear it like winding down. Now, I don't know if it's cumulative like say you do it so many times, and then like after so many times of stretching rope, it just snaps, or if it resets every time, you know, you let tension off. I'm sure somebody will figure that out in the future, but like say I can set this to, let's say we'll set this to 10 now. Okay, see, there it is. There's the bobber, and now you can see the line is actually coming down much, much farther. And we can do up to 40 meters. I do kind of wish that, now let's hit the 40 meters. Let's see, there's the bait. And there's the bobber right there. And the fish is going right after it. Actually, I don't know. It sounded like he might have still been on the line. But either way. But that's the fishing rod. So, yeah, we covered the nets. We covered the pots. Yeah. So that should be pretty much about everything that was added with here. Oh, yes. One more thing. Okay, so as part of the test, I went ahead and bought all the, like, the fishing data. So you can go over to here, and you have the South Sawyer Fishing Village, and there's a fishing data vendor. There might be another elsewhere, but I do know that one's there. But if you look, all these little black marks are all the fishing location hotspots. These, like, I did it before on a previous, like, they were all the way out here. You know, like, as far as, like, out here. Now they're just all in this immediate vicinity. And, like, these are the ones that are farthest out, but that's still, like, way closer than, like, some of them that were, like, sitting, like, out here. They weren't even worth the effort. Now, I also scanned all these, getting close enough. These are just fish. This is not, like, crabs. So I don't know how the crabbing will work overall, but hey. But yeah, these are all fish. I did not see any that were, you know, crab specific. So, all right. Yeah, that pretty much covers everything, I believe. So, yeah, like the crab pots, they work great. They just sit on the bottom of the ocean and just generate crabs internally. So they're a very passive form of income. So as long as you just spawn one at a dock and just let it sit, it'll eventually just spawn them over time. And then all you gotta do is pick it up and put the stuff into the fishing thing. And you'll just make money that way. Like, say, over the North Harbor, just spawn one, let it sit, and then just pull it up and go sell it. And it'll work just, you know, that's, you know, easily what you could do. It won't be probably a lot of money, and it won't be fast, but it will be money if you need it in a pinch. My only other thing is these things weigh 45 mass per pot. They are heavy. Like, they are considerably heavy. So they will rock around your boat. Just to give you an idea, the small hoppers are 12. And I believe the medium hoppers are like 80, I believe. Something like that. Because I know the large hoppers are 112 now. So either way, that gives you an idea how heavy they are. They're pretty heavy. They will add some weight to your boat and such. So keep that in mind as well. Yeah. No. And the new fishing mechanics with the rod. Listen for that little grinding sound in here where it sounds like it's going down. That gives you a clue that you're adding tension to the line. And yeah, and all the fishing spots are now concentrated in more accessible areas. That's pretty much mostly it. So I think I'm going to go ahead and probably in the future look up some logic data for composites. Probably start covering that. And yeah, so anyways, look forward to that. All right. Well, hope you enjoyed the watch. Hope you like what you saw. If you did, you know the deal, you know the spiel. This is Arcades signing out. Have yourself a good day.